Testing, testing. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah. Wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Amma ba'd. Microphone might have been too loud. So we're here today. Our discussion today is on the courting process in Islam, some do's and don'ts, and Q&A. So this is a program put on by the Marriage Connection Committee at Masjid Ash-Shaheed. And so you know the members of the Marriage Connection Committee by those bright orange t-shirts. Marriage Connection Committee. And their duty here at the masjid is to help single Muslims find their spouse. You on there? Yeah, he's on there. Yeah. To help single Muslims find their spouse, you know, and we give advice. We have a group of brothers that are committed to being a wali. So we'll talk about the procedures here. And we'll talk about the courting process, some do's and don'ts, things that get people caught up, and some general things to talk about as a conversation, inshallah. Okay? So we ready? Everybody comfortable with that? Okay, so where we're going to start is making the point that over time there has been a decline in knowledge and practice in courting. You know, a lot of Muslims, we may learn our salah. We learn how to fast in the month of Ramadan properly, right? We even learn the details on how to pay our zakat. But we don't sit down and learn what is the proper way that we're supposed to be looking for a spouse. The proper way we're supposed to court, the Muslim way. You know, and what happens is most of us, we fall back into default. We fall back into what we know. So if you didn't grow up in Islam, how do you pick up a woman? How do you attract a man? You, even if you grew up in Islam, even if you were raised Muslim, if you went to public school or you out in society working, there's ways and things and habits that you may have picked up that are not suitable for your courting process, for finding a spouse. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to have conversations, some things, some do's and don'ts when it comes to the courting process. And I appreciate y'all's patience. See, we don't have the numbers we had last time, but we are on YouTube. Got the camera up there. I can wave to the YouTube family. I'm not monitoring YouTube, so I can't see how many people are watching right now. But this with our intention, we can find benefit in this, inshallah. So, starting off, this is chapter 30 of the Quran, Surah Al-Rum, the Romans, verse 21, and it says, "And of his signs is that he created for you from among yourselves mates, that you may find tranquility with them. And he places between you affection and mercy." Okay? So, when you think about why should I get married, or why would I want to get married, right? What we should be doing is going to the Quran. We should go to the Quran first, and where Allah talks about your mates. And a primary reason for marriage is in this verse, that you may find tranquility. That word tranquility. Okay? What is tranquility? Is that an SAT word? What's tranquility? You said peace? Yeah. Peace, Comfort. Serenity. Right? The opposite of chaos. Right? So we're supposed to be finding in our spouse peace. Not perfection, but peace. And where we find peace is in our obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not going to come at this from a secular angle, right? Somebody who's meek, we think that person is peaceful. It comes from obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You find tranquility with your spouse. So firstly, if you want to find tranquility with that spouse, right, you have to straighten yourself out to where you have tranquility to offer to such a spouse, right? Because there are things that somebody can have going on in their life that causes chaos, right? So you find tranquility with the spouse, and he places between you affection and mercy. Okay? That's a very important portion. There's a whole lecture on this. Allah places between a husband and wife affection and mercy. Okay? It's not something that you look to feel. I hope I'm making sense here. I saw the person and they didn't make my heart flutter, so I don't want to marry them, right? Or you're looking for that feeling. So this is why we have steps in order to help people make the right kind of decisions, okay? In Islam, I'm gonna say this slow because I don't know if people hear me a lot when I'm saying this, okay? I'm gonna put it to the elementary school playground. If you could remember yourself on the elementary school playground, right? And who was a bully? Who was a bully? Did you tease others when you were in school? He's saying the brother was a bully. Okay? You notice that a little boy likes a little girl on the playground, or the other way around. What did the other kids say to tease them? It's a little tune they used to sing. Now, I'm gonna age myself. Maybe the younger people don't know this. Okay? Let's make up a name. Let's give me two random names for a boy and a girl. Muhammad and Khadijah. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to use the. Yeah, just some common names. Jack and Jill. Okay, Jackie and Jill, right? Or Jack and Jill, right? You see Jack and Jill playing in the playground, and you tease them. You say, Jack and Jill sitting in the tree. Kissing. First comes love, then comes marriage, then come the babies in the baby carriage. I know I took some of y'all back, right? Who knew that song already? Yeah, we knew that song. After your generation? If we apply that in Islam, can everything in that song be appropriate in Islam? No. So what you want to understand in this part is, for one, these two people sit in a tree together, kissing, that can't happen, right, in Islam. And then the part where it says, first comes love, then comes marriage, right? You may not like what I'm about to say. In Islam, that's out of order, okay? In Islam, we marry first, and then we have love between each other as husband and wife, okay? Why is this important? If you marry first, and then the love grows between the spouses, that's going to be a more lasting relationship, because the other things that were called love before marriage, they could add to some delusion. I want you to think about, because we got all adults in here, right? Okay? I'm not going to make any assumptions of your previous experiences or previous relationships, but I want you to think about this, or think about your friendships with others, like just what you know about life. Some of the worst decisions of people's lives, have been made in the name of love. You know? I know she's so-and-so, but I love her. I know he's such and such, but I love him. Right? I'm going to marry him anyway. I'm going to marry her anyway. Right? So as Muslims, this is why it's so important we follow the protocol that Allah gives us through His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that we have love between spouses before people have love between them in an inappropriate setting before marriage. Am I making sense? Because love between a married couple causes you to forgive and have mercy on each other and overlook flaws. Okay? Before marriage, you don't want to have too much overlooking of flaws. Am I making sense? Now, I don't want us to be overly judgmental of each other before you get married. However, this is the importance, this is why we have the importance of a sister having a wali or a wakil, and that wakil is not buddy-buddy with the brother that's also going to overlook stuff. That wakil is not lazy and not vetting the brother for potential husbandry, and we're doing things in the right way. And the sister respects the wali or wakil and respects his judgment. Okay, so that's very important, and it's going to cause us to have long-lasting and successful marriages, inshallah. Okay, and this is at every level. So, just a couple things here. When it comes to marriage, marriage is obligatory. The word wajib in Arabic. It is obligatory for anyone who has the means and they fear falling into sin otherwise. Okay? Now I want you to look at this. I want you to think about this subjectively. Okay? Person has the means to marry. That means they have the physical ability to be married, right? They have the financial stability, right? They don't have chaos in their life. So they have the means to, and because they're a healthy adult, they fear falling into sin otherwise. Okay? And that's a very important thing. This is a reality. I don't want us to pretend. We got to stop all this pretending. Muslims do this a lot. I don't know. We got to stop pretending that adult human beings are walking around here living like monks and that we don't have desire. You got to stop pretending that, because that's a reality. So for young people, parents, we can't keep discouraging our young people from getting married, because life is going to life and things are going to happen. Okay? That's not a threat. I'm just talking about human nature. If we tell our daughters, no, it's not time to get married yet. You need to finish school. Or you need to do this. You need to develop yourself. It's not time yet. And then mistakes happen. And she ends up getting in a relationship inappropriately. Right? Same thing happens to the young men. Okay? So we should encourage people to marry and not discourage them away from it. And we want to keep them appropriate when it comes to this process. So, again, number one, marriage is obligatory for anyone who has the means and fears falling into sin otherwise. Okay, number two, it is recommended, mustashab, I think I said that right, for those who have the means, although they have the ability to control their desires. Okay? So what does that mean? Some people are literally able to quell their desires, and they don't have an issue with their physical desires, but they could get married, right? That's what that means. So they could get married, but they're not struggling with their desires. It's still recommended that such a person gets married. Okay? So recommended for those who have the means to marry, although they have the ability to control their desires. Why is this important? Because the Prophet ﷺ, Muhammad, he said, marriage is my sunnah, and whoever does not abide by my sunnah is not of me. Okay? What does this mean? If somebody is a Muslim and they're walking around promoting not marrying, that's a foul ball. Okay? So no Muslim should be encouraging people not to marry. Okay? That's un-Islamic. That's against the sunnah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they shouldn't gloat about being single. They shouldn't brag about being single or encourage people to stay single. You know? Now, obviously, as imam, I got to tell people sometimes, like, you're not ready to get married right now. That's an honest response. However, for somebody to perpetually not even seek for marriage, that's something that is against the sunnah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? And number 3, sometimes marriage is haram for certain people. Okay? Marriage is haram for those who cannot fulfill marital duties, financially or physically, unless the prospective spouse agrees to it. Unless the prospective spouse agrees to it. Right? So if there's a physical ailment, somebody's up front with it. Let's say if it's something like maybe a sister can't have children. Right? You think she should let a brother know? Or the other way around. Maybe a brother can't have children. He should at least let the sister know. And I've heard about such a story. Boy meets girl, a brother marries sister, and then he's after the whole marriage, oh, by the way, I'm infertile. I can't have children. That's deceitful. That would have been something to bring up later on, because there are people who can't have children. Maybe they could find each other, right? So these things should be discussed in premarital discussions, okay? And it's good.
The Wali should have found that out.
Yeah, the Wali should have found that out. And it's quick and easy, right? It can take 30 seconds. Brother says, I want to have children. Do you want to have children? She says no. Nothing else to talk about then, right? We don't need to convince each other otherwise. We just move on. Good luck to you. Well, not good luck, but may Allah reward you with your intentions, right? So if there's anything with that, we should be upfront with it and discuss these things before getting ahead of ourselves. Okay? Now, we already know that there's forbidden types of marriage. You should look in the Quran. This is listed, the forbidden types of marriage. As a review, who can you not marry?
Those who are non-believers.
Okay, can't marry a disbeliever. Okay, but what is a mahram? A mahram is somebody too closely related to you, so therefore you cannot marry them. Okay, your mother's your mahram. Mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts, in-laws, like sister-in-law, mother-in-law, the children of your spouse. The children of your spouse, you can never marry, like forever. right? Just so you know, and we need to, what we've done, like as African Americans, a lot of us have done this based on American culture, I guess, is that as African Americans, a lot of us think that our cousins are mahram. Your cousin is not mahram, okay? So what am I saying in English? Like, cousins are eligible for marriage. So that means we should still keep a distance between cousins, and make sure that we're appropriate in front of cousins, because cousins are eligible for marriage in Islam, even though culturally we don't do that, and that's something that is a staple in our culture. We don't. I'll say African Americans don't marry our cousins, okay? But we still should be aware of this ruling in Islam, okay? And there's a full list in the Quran of who is a mahram that you cannot marry. Some of them you probably wouldn't fall into that category in reality. Like they call one if you had the same wet nurse, right? If my mother breastfed another person, a girl, for long enough, then we're like siblings and can never marry. Okay, that's a ruling in Islam as well. Temporary marriages are forbidden in Islam. Okay, I know you might have heard of it. They call it a muta marriage. We don't do that in Islam, in the way we practice our Islam. Okay? What is a muta marriage? A muta marriage is a marriage with the intention of it being temporary. Like, look, let's get married, and we just be married for like a couple years, and then when I move back to California, it'll be over with. That's not permissible in Islam.
For the purpose of citizenship or something.
Oh, you're getting into a whole nother thing. That's a whole other thing. If that's deceitful, right? It's deceitful if one party was thinking of doing a temporary marriage while the other party was all in. Like, that's very deceitful. If the entire time one party had intentions of divorcing after a certain period of time. You have a question?
You have people that marry people for money.
Mm-hmm.
Come together like that too.
Marry people for money. Yeah. People marry for money. People marry for, the brother said, a green card, right? Is that permissible or no?
Well, it shouldn't be, but you have people that live overseas or
Uh-huh.
in another country.
Mm-hmm.
They pay people like $6,000 just to get into the state.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States.
That's gonna be something I'm gonna talk about a little later, because I'll talk about it now. We got a little time. What time is it?
5:10.
Okay. There are things that are permissible in Islam, like in black and white law. There's things that are permissible, but it's distasteful or not tactful to do. Okay? So marrying for money, it's not anything wrong with marrying for money, although it would be distasteful or not tactful to admit to. Like how would it make you feel, brother, how would it make you feel if you got married and then a month later it comes out, I only married you for your money? Right? It's not like your marriage is not legal, right? It's not like you're not married, but it kind of takes a sour taste in your mouth, right? I only married you because I was trying to get citizenship, And you know, and by the way, I found this out because I got to research this stuff. The U.S. government investigates these things and will put people in jail for marriage fraud for marrying for citizenship.
A lot of that is going on.
Yeah, a lot of it is going on. A lot of it is going on. But once, if the feds catch wind that somebody got married just for citizenship, they're going to come and find out, and it's punishable by the law. It's marriage fraud. So basically, if there's a situation where if somebody's in the States and they fly somebody over here for the purpose of marrying, right? That is, they'll stop them from doing that, because it's basically it's a very thin line. The federal government, it's okay if you happen to be visiting America and you fell in love and marry somebody. That's fine according to U.S. law. But if they find out that you already had the plan already set, I'm coming over here just to get married for citizenship, and it's all planned. If the government finds out, that's not good. They'll fine you, and they may even arrest somebody.
Like a mail order bride.
Right. And even though, so it's a thin line, because there's a lot of things that they look the other way on and things like that. Yes, ma'am. Wa alaikum salam.
It's actually really difficult to do now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because
It's difficult
to do,
to marry somebody just for citizenship?
yes.
Yes, it is. They ask a lot of questions, don't they?
And not only that, if you don't live here
Mm-hmm.
and come here and you get married and you're not a citizen and you don't have an application form for a visa,
Mhm.
stay, or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times they'll send you back where you came from. They'll deport you.
They will.
Yes.
They'll deport you?
Yeah.
Yes.
They'll send you back.
And also another thing I found out in my research is that if somebody already got married, they should present evidence that they got married, and the U.S. government will accept that. If they try to get married again, that can be punishable. I'll give you an example. Somebody, let's say a couple got married in France. They officially got married in France. They have a French marriage license, right? Then they both come to the United States. If they say something like, "Oh, I can't find our marriage license. We left it in France," or something like that, and they say, "Well, let's just go to an American courthouse and get married." If they find out that you were already married, that's going to be punishable. It's probably some fines or something like that for being married already and getting married on top of it. So that international marriage license from another country, if it's presented, is valid for marriage. And I didn't know this, but there's actually an international database of marriages. Yes. So if somebody got married in another country, legally married, like if they got the state or country marriage license, came over here, there's ways to find out if they are officially married by the government in that other country. But let's keep rolling right here. Let me see. So temporary marriages, that's haram, that's forbidden. I don't care what nobody say. Y'all hear me, YouTube? Because I know that there's other like sects of Islam that they say temporary marriage is something that's like halal. We're not going to play that game. Okay? The third one, a marriage in which the wife does not get her mahar. A mahar is a bridal gift. Okay? Now it's different if she waives it, but if she agreed to receive a mahar and then she never received it, okay, that's forbidden. And it's actually in the hadith by which it says if a man dies and he never paid his mahar to his wife, that will have to be settled on the day of judgment. Okay, so it's that important that the bridal gift is paid. Okay, so it really should be. And I hope somebody may be looking on YouTube, maybe already married, and you're supposed to have your bridal gift, and it's been years now. That's important. Okay, that for that to be paid. Marriage to a fornicator, adulterer, or a polytheist. Okay, so this is also important. Okay, for us to know. Until that adulterer or fornicator repents for their sin and promises to straighten up their self, the marriage cannot go forward. Okay, and a polytheist, obviously a polytheist. But what's a polytheist in 2025?
Regular old American.
Regular American? You got to look for polytheistic signs. And we show signs of polytheism. People show signs of polytheism in their character. How do you do so? Now, this will be subjective. I don't want y'all to go out like judging people, right? But think about it. We have polytheistic traits in the way people behave, you know? If materialism is something that is reigning supreme in somebody's life, like if you ain't got this and this, you're not even important, right? It's that important. That materialism might be that person's God. Okay? And you want to look for these type of characteristics in people, right? People really take it too far when it comes to how much they love a sport, how much they love a celebrity or music, right? They got to have it. So this is something these are polytheistic traits in people. But like I said, I don't want y'all to be overly judgmental. Like, they just wanted to go to a concert. Like, bro, like, but you want to find these things out and what's important to a person and how they behave about these things, right? As a Muslim, there should be nothing in this dunya that you feel like you can't live without. Okay? Obviously air and food, right? The things you need to live. But I'm talking about other things, right? There should be nothing in this dunya that you feel like you can't live without as a Muslim, as a practicing Muslim. All right? Like if you like music, can you go without it?
Yes.
Yeah. If you like gator toe shoes, I don't know, something. If you like whatever you like, right? Could you live without that Porsche? Could you live without a big backyard, right? Would you really be rolling on the ground like a 2-year-old if you couldn't have that anymore, right? These are things we should think about when it comes to this type of behaviors. Marriage of a Muslim woman to a non-Muslim man is not permitted in Islam. Okay? And I know there's been debates about this, or, you know, what if he's a believer but not a Muslim? Look, I got to toe the line as imam. We're not going to play that game here. If the brother is not a Muslim, I'm not officiating a marriage. Okay? And you might not like this decision. There are cases by which if the sister is not a Muslim, I may not do the marriage. Okay? We can talk about it. But there's a lot of single sisters. There's a lot of single sisters. And every scenario is different. I'm not saying I'm closing the door on that, but there are situations where there's other options. Like I don't have to do the marriage. I don't have to officiate the marriage. Okay? Is that fair for me to say that?
Yes.
If the imam say he ain't doing it, well, what's your options?
Don't do it.
The option should be not to do it. The option would probably be to try to find a different imam who will do it. But they shouldn't.
I'm gonna talk to all the other imams in the city then. I can call them up.
Right.
Like, look, they about to come to you tomorrow. No, I wouldn't. But I'm saying it's important because this is sacred. This is sacred grounds. This bubble of community life that we have, we should protect it. Okay, and you protect the future of it as well. Okay, and I can explain to you why I would encourage Muslim brothers not to marry non-Muslims. Okay, I can explain to you why, but it's not another subject, but we can discuss it after prayer, inshallah. So what I'm going to talk about now is the wilaya, is guardianship, and the role of the wali or the wakil. Just so you know the difference. And we say it loosely because we're Americans and we get a little freedoms when it comes to these terms. All right? What's the difference between a wali and a wakil? Anybody ever thought about that? The difference between a wali and a wakil: a wali is blood, a wakil is not. That's a simple definition. Okay? So a wali is typically the sister's father, the sister's brother, the sister's blood uncle, something like that. That's the wali. A wakil is a brother that's in the role of a wali because the sister doesn't have a Muslim wali. Okay? Make sense? But I'm not correcting you if you're saying I'm the sister's wali and you're not related to her. Because it's not, we got bigger fish to fry, right? Right? But I'm just clarifying these roles, okay? Now, according to Islamic, I'll say Islamic jurisprudence by the scholars, a marriage is valid when it has a wali and two witnesses. Okay? If you don't have these three things, some would dare to say that marriage is invalid. Okay? You have to have a wali and you have to have two witnesses minimum. If there's no guardian, the ruler becomes the guardian. So what that means is if there's no wali, whoever's in charge becomes the wali. So typically, that'll be from the imam's office. If a sister does not have a wali can be assigned to you to help to fulfill that role. In that case, he'll be a wakil. Okay. Now, do we need to have a wali class, Brother Atif?
Yes.
Okay, we can do that,
Yes.
because what the wali has become nowadays is just a line on the signature, just a signature line on the marriage contract. But that brother didn't do no vetting. That brother barely knows the groom. And that's not the proper way to do things. The wali should not be the last person that's spoken to. The wali should be the first person to speak to. So the wali shouldn't be finding out that you getting married next week and I'm the wali. You get married when? Next week. I don't even got time to know this person. Right? So the wali has to be given a chance to be the wali. Okay? Also, the wali is not necessarily responsible for finding your husband. Okay? The wali responsibility is vetting your potential husband and approving of your potential husband. Do you know how hard it would be if everybody that's a wali in this masjid has to be on the hunt and look for husbands, look for men for the sister to marry? No. So how do we make this work? We have to tighten up on the process. So we'll talk about it, inshallah. Number 3 is very important. Marrying without the permission of your guardian is invalid. Okay? Now I know a lot of sisters might not like that, but you have to, your wali has to approve of who you're marrying. And this also comes with the respect for the wali, right? I've heard situations where the sister fired her wali. How you fire your dad, like, as your wali, right? You can fire your wali, by the way. However, it's got to be for a valid reason. Is he actually incompetent, or you just didn't like what he said, right? Is he actually not really helping you? He's too apathetic, or you didn't like that he don't like the brother you're trying to marry, so you just fire him, right? So there's a balance to that. And also, you must have a wali or wakil, okay? No matter how many times a sister has been divorced or married, and no matter how old she is, okay? This is important. And we're talking about the social standards when you're courting, okay? And what are the social standards when you're courting? Keep it halal. What's that mean, brother? You need a chaperone. Does it matter if I'm 90 years old and the woman I'm trying to marry is 85? Does it matter? It doesn't matter. So you need a chaperone. And the good thing about that is we got technology now, right? So calling, texting, and all of that, communicating, but still having a shield. So that phone is the shield, or that texting is a shield between you, okay? Where you're not alone with each other, okay? So if I'm, say what now?
The wakil should actually be on the texting between the two.
Yeah, the wakil should be informed and aware of what's going on between two people that are courting, okay? For example, I'm in a group right now, right? It's only 3 of us in the group. The 2 people are courting, and I just check, make sure things is on. I'm not like texting them back and responding like, "What'd you say, brother, sister?" But just monitor, make sure that everything is halal. There's nothing inappropriate going on. Okay, so that's important, and it's also a trust, right? Because they could if they wanted to, just text each other, call each other.
Outside of that.
Right.
Okay.
But it's still something. Protocol. All right? Just because you're courting, you're not married yet, can you walk on the boardwalk in university holding hands? Right? It's okay, we getting married next week. Not cool, right? We getting married next month, it's all right. Can we sign the lease now? We getting married in 3 weeks. Can we just go ahead and sign the lease and move in together now? Right? We intended. I mean, we can't. No, that you can't do that.
No.
We're not supposed to be doing that. Okay? And I got to call it out.
Right.
We want Allah to bless your marriage. We want to do things the right way. Okay? And the wali is responsible for reminding you to do things the right way before marriage. Okay, so that when you marry, everything is a successful marriage. Okay, so I don't know if we can come back to Q&A. I think it's 5:30 right now. It's 5:30 right now, so we pray Asr, and then we come back and have some question and answer, and maybe further discussion, because there's some things I might have missed or skipped in this discussion. So inshallah, let's go ahead and break for Salah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salat. Hayya ala salat. Hayya ala falah. Hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salat, hayya ala falah, hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allah. Qad qamatis salat, qad qamatis salat. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Okay. Make sure your line is straight, shoulder to shoulder for the brothers. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. التحيات والصلوات والطيبات والسلام عليك السلام علينا وعلى أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. التحيات والصلوات والطيبات والسلام عليك السلام علينا وعلى رسول الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله كما صليت السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله. ذكر الله. سبحان الله. Glory to Allah. Alhamdulillah. All praise is due to Allah. Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater. La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. Our Lord, accept this effort from us, for you are the all-hearing, the all-knowing. Ameen. Taqabbalillah. May Allah accept our worship. Assalamu alaikum. So just a reminder, tomorrow morning we have Islam 101 at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then at 12:30 we will have Ta'aleem with Imam Naeem. And we have something special happening after Ta'aleem. We have a wedding tomorrow. Okay? Now, that's not an invite for everybody. It's a young couple, and they bringing their family in. But I expect for masjid staff and the Marriage Connection Committee pop in and have some greetings for the family and the couple, inshallah, at 2 o'clock. Yes. All right. So inshallah, we'll continue with the program. We're going to do question and answer, and this is the single Muslims meet and greet, right? So I know hopefully everybody signed in. And we'll talk about the processes with you, Brother Atif. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, we got some snacks over there. We got some refreshments, cookies, cheese, punch. Okay. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Welcome back. So we're gonna go right into our question and answer. So anything I've spoken about so far, we can have a discussion, talk about it. But this is about the courting process in Islam. Okay. So some differences, some similarities, and some of our procedures here at Masjid Ash-Shaheed. Go ahead, sir.
If someone. someone has already, can they hear us on YouTube? Or should we-
No, you might want to get the microphone.
If someone has already, can they hear us on YouTube? Or should we- If someone has already, can they hear us on YouTube? Or should we- If someone has already, can they hear us on YouTube? Or should we-
No, you might want to get the microphone.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
The question was, if someone has already been married before and they're interested in getting married again, why do they need a wali?
The question, if somebody's already been married before and they're interested in getting married again, why do they need a wali? So you're talking about a sister who's been married before and they're interested in getting married again. Okay? There's, so you have the madhabs, the madahib, the schools of thought in Islam. Okay? Now from what I know, there's only one of them that allows for a sister to not have a wali when she is going to remarry because she's been married already before. Okay? So, from my office, the only way that I would allow a sister to marry without a wali is if she says that she is an adherent to that specific school of thought. That's the loophole. And I ain't gonna tell you which one it is. Because I'll make my strong suggestions, right? And so it needs to come from sincere obedience to Allah, not from a place of because I don't feel like it, or because I don't think I should, right? We wanna when we talk about these kind of things, we want to come from an Islamic perspective and an Islamic source. And so even if Now this, you might not like what I'm saying here. Even if you're right, if the reason for your decision is just because you feel like it, but it's not from your sincere obedience to Allah and His Messenger, then that's still a fault. That's still a fault. Okay?
It almost makes your right being wrong.
It almost makes your right being wrong. That's exactly. It's like this, and this is a totally different subject, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If I am a Muslim because one day I took a coin and I said if it lands on heads, I'll be Muslim. If it lands on tails, I won't be Muslim. And that's why I'm Muslim?
Yes. And that's the wrong reason to be Muslim.
Wrong reason to be Muslim. I got the right religion for the wrong reason.
Yes.
So then when something happens, I'm leaving because it don't suit me anymore. Sometimes people are Muslims because they prefer Islam, but not because they're convicted that it's the truth. The best reason to be Muslim,
Better than everything else. Yeah.
right? The best reason that you're Muslim should be because you know it's the truth. Because there's going to be things in the deen that you don't like, that you don't prefer, but you do it anyway because you know because you know this religion is from Allah, and that is true.
I shared that understanding with some brothers in prison. That exact understanding that you just gave.
Alhamdulillah.
Because they were Muslim for protection.
Oh yeah. Even if they come into Islam for the wrong reason, they need to find the right reason.
That's what I told them.
So that's going to help them stay. You know? So alhamdulillah. That's a good question.
Next question. Anybody want the mic? Anybody have a question?
He'll bring the mic to you if you want to stay seated, you know.
Anybody?
Now you see,
Assalamu alaikum.
wa alaikum salam.
You didn't discuss this, but this is things that people think of, but never ask because they're too shy. And my question is, what about second wives?
Yeah, I got a heads up about that.
The brother wanting a second wife or marrying a second wife.
Okay. You went for the jugular. So what's the question though? So you said, what about a brother who wants a second wife? That's the subject, but what's the question in?
Like, for instance, if for instance, you're married to a brother,
Okay.
and one of your stipulations, not that you because you can't disagree, you don't disagree with the sunnah. But you know that for you, if the brother wanted to marry a second wife, you don't object to his marrying a second wife, but you don't intend to stay in the marriage. Right? So
Right.
you're fine with him marrying a second wife, but you opt out. Like you're saying, well, deuces, dude, I'm not in this. So what is your thought about that?
So the question kind of turned. So basically, your question is divorcing your husband valid?
No, it is.
That's not the question.
The question is, if she say in the beginning of her marriage
Okay.
that she's just going to be married to him or her,
Mm-hmm.
and she's not really agreeing on us having the second, and they put that in the contract.
If they put it in the contract.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if he signed it, he should abide by the contract.
If he doesn't,
If he doesn't sign it,
if he doesn't abide by it, if he then decides.
if he just ignores the contract, if he ignores the contract, then the sister has that leverage to say, based on this in our contract, I'm leaving. Because it's something that he agreed to in the contract.
So does she have to give back the mahr because of that or not? Because he,
No, a violation of the contract is different.
right,
So there's certain reasons a sister can divorce her husband by which she doesn't have to give back the mahr.
right.
Okay? So what are those reasons? That's abandonment, that's abuse, and that's violation of the marriage contract. Okay? And also violation of her rights. Like if he's not giving her rights, she can divorce without giving back the mahr, because that's a divorce based on these violations. But there is a caveat to it. There needs to be an arbiter that agrees with her on that.
Okay.
So the arbiter would have to be like the imam that they both follow, and her and the imam said, brother, you signed this contract and this is the agreement. So if you're going to break this contract, then she has a right to divorce, right? So it could be based on that. Okay? But there is something that we should know that's important. Okay? What I'm about to say, it is subjective, but there is a hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says the curse of Allah is on a woman who divorces her husband for no valid reason. Now there are valid reasons, but sometimes the reason is not valid, right? So we want to make sure that if somebody's seeking a divorce and they're hard-headed about that divorce, it needs to be a valid reason. I think because we have a lot of divorces in our communities. So, and I'm not gonna. I quoted that hadith, but I'm not gonna be walking around like, sister, curse of Allah is on you. But we need to know these things because you want to think about this. Like, is it a valid reason?
My question is, so how long is the abandonment before you could say to the imam that you want a divorce?
In America, I would say abandonment would be when the bottom falls out. So let's say, for example, if he's paying the mortgage or the rent, and then you about to get evicted now, that's abandonment. Like he just let it go. Not because he is impoverished, lost his job, and really can't do it, but if he just literally like,
No, say
I don't care, I'm gonna stop paying the rent. I don't care.
Like he married a sister and he's there for a couple months. Oh, like he's there for a couple months and then he just disappears. No contact,
Right.
no nothing. 6 months later, you pop back up like nothing happened.
Yeah, that's abandonment.
Okay.
That's abandonment. But like I said, the arbiter has to agree to that. Like, so an imam or judge in that case would look at that and say, based on these parameters, your husband has abandoned you. Okay, and we're going to allow for your divorce. We're going to do this affidavit and allow for you a divorce because of abandonment. So it shouldn't be like the sister just on her own just said, well, I'm leaving because you ain't been back in 3 months, and I'm out of here. And she didn't get an arbiter to facilitate that, right? Yeah. And if it's not a masjid, because I had a situation like this. If it's not going to be the masjid, there are organizations that will do that. Give an Islamic judgment that, sister, you are divorced. You can seek divorce based on these parameters. One sister came here. I thought that if the sister was in Charlotte, I would have done it. But she was from like Florida somewhere, and she said she hadn't seen her husband in 2 years. He's over in Egypt somewhere, and she hadn't even talked to him on the phone or anything, and she wanted a divorce, right? So what she did, based on my advice, is she found out that there was an ISNA office near where she lives, and those national organizations like ISNA, ICNA, MAS, they have arbiters that will look at a case and Islamically make a judgment on it. The masjid can do it, but people who like the organizational model, they have at those offices they do that kind of thing as well. Okay. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What are your thoughts on people who say, send me your picture, send me your picture, send me your picture. I think I know someone, send me your picture. And in a time where we're really, really dealing with our sisters going missing, just a couple years ago at any given time, 97,000 black women were missing. Mm-hmm. So when we have this community of send me your picture, I want to show you, blah, 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 blah. What are your thoughts on people who readily ask for things like that in situations like these?
If that's being done and it's not by somebody that is agreed upon as your wali, then you shouldn't do it. Okay? See, I may do it because I know if I'm the wali of a sister and the trust is there, it'll be like, send me your picture. I have a standard picture, and if the brother is suitable, right? That's already being communicated. But just somebody be like, send your picture. Just a lot of that going on, and your picture just out. That's you should say no to that. Right? Oh, that's good. If it's not your wali, it's not your wali. That's he's helping you, right? Then it shouldn't be a lot of sending of pictures. Does that make sense? Right. So the trust got to be there, right? So that's where that would come from. A picture is it's not haram to see the picture of the sister. Actually, it's actually encouraged to look, but that shouldn't be. Some information should come along with that picture, because we in a swipe left type of environment, right? Yeah. So I hope I answered your question. Yeah.
I don't know if that was something from YouTube or not. Was there somebody responded or question? You didn't have.
No, it sounded like it might have been somebody's phone or something. I don't.
Somebody's phone. Yeah. That was your phone. Okay, I thought that was somebody on line trying to get your attention. Do we have any other questions? Anybody had anything they wanted to ask? We got a couple people coming in. You have a question now? Okay. You told me no a minute ago.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I was going to ask, do you think it's important to get married legally and Islamically?
I recommend it. Yes. To get married legally and Islamically. I think it is important. I encourage people to do so. The only time I would not be able to is if it is a situation where it's a second wife or third or fourth wife, right? So what we have at Masjid Ash-Shaheed, we do marriage contracts. And I don't marry anybody without premarital sessions. I do a minimum of 3 premarital sessions, and right now I'm batting 500 right now. Out of the 6 premarital sessions we started, 3 led to marriage and 3 did not. But the premarital session not leading to marriage is not a failure. It's a success. Why? Because they found out about things about each other that they're gonna move on. Alhamdulillah, right? We're gonna move on. We decided not to get married and just move on. Right? So that's the purpose, because in Islam we don't date. We don't waste time. Once you find out something, or something is like a turn off, when people are dating, they'll know something is a turn off or a red flag and then continue dating. Then it's like 2 years done gone by and it's like, I never liked that about you. But that's the American culture, right? But in Islam, we court, you start courting, you start talking, you find something out, it's not something desirable, and it should be no hard feelings either.
Right. Also, sisters, keep in mind that having the contract and having the legal document is for your protection as well.
Yeah, most definitely.
And it's also a red flag if the brother that you're interested in or your intendant is telling you you don't need it. That actually should be a red flag to you. If he's telling you all you need to be is Islamically married, you don't need to be legally married, that should be a red flag to you, because that's a problem. If he's telling you you don't need a wali, that's a problem. That should be a red flag to you as well. You know, if he's telling you we can get married right away, and we don't need the counseling from the imam, that should be a red flag to you, because there are some imams that will marry you without doing the counseling.
Yeah.
And if the brother is trying to pull you away from the imam that wants to do the counseling to take you to an imam that will marry you without the counseling, that should also be a red flag to you.
Yes, most definitely.
Amen. Does a brother need permission from his first wife in order to marry a second wife?
Does a brother need permission? He already has permission from Allah to do so.
But if he was to marry a second wife and the first wife's not approving of it,
Well, I put it to you this way. A lot of times it's done in a way that is not tactful, and the way it is done is a way in which that is wrong. Like I've been married for 22 years. What if I got married this weekend and didn't tell my wife? That's just wrong.
well, I'm not saying not to tell her, but
Right.
But how would she go about it?
You clearly communicate.
Okay, she still doesn't approve.
She's not the one. Like, who's the leader in the relationship? Like, she's not. It's kind of like, can you buy a car without your wife's permission? You know. But marriage. I'll tell you this: marriage is a bigger decision than the house you buy, the city you live in, or the car you buy. It's a more important decision. It's not something to be taken lightly. So it should be clearly communicated with your wife before doing so. So even if she disagrees with your decision, it still should be clear of what you're doing and not any deceit or hiding of your intentions. All right.
Go back to the contract. If there is a contract.
Yeah, if there's a contract, then
No collision.
yeah, if there's a contract, then that's different. It's like, so say there's not a contract, and the brother wants to get a second wife. The wife has reasons he should not, and doesn't want him to do so, but he continues with it and does so anyway. He did something that his wife doesn't like. Husbands do things their wife don't like all the time. But this is a very important decision. So it's subjective, I'll say. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything morally wrong if you made a decision that your wife did not agree to. Okay? But like I said, if you did it deceitfully, you know, that's wrong.
Also, sisters, we've been throwing around the word contract. You do understand that the Islamic marriage contract is something you write, something that you come up with, you and your intended.
Yeah.
So what goes in there is what you want to go in there. Now, that would be the time, hopefully, that if you put in there, I don't want my husband to have a second wife, and then he says, I agree with that, that's the understanding going forward that you would go. Say you don't put that in there. Say you don't think about that and don't put that in your contract. So now you didn't tell him you disagree with him having a second wife. But as the Imam was saying, you still want to have that discussion, like any big change in your life that you would make, any other big change in your life that you would make, you'd want to have that discussion. I'm thinking, though, leaning more back towards what Brother Reggie is saying, he's deciding he wants a second wife. And his second wife is saying, or his first wife is saying, no, I disagree with that. A lot of times, because I've heard this a lot of times, I've heard this often from different people, not just because of the position I'm in, but just in talking to people. Their understanding is that should be the end of the discussion. But like Sister Sahadia said, if he decides he wants to have a second wife, okay, that's his decision. She just doesn't want to be the first wife any longer. And then now he needs to get a first wife again, because his first wife is leaving, So now he still only has one wife. And it probably would then tell that wife, okay, well, this is the beginning of us having somebody else in the house or in another house or whatever. Because keep in mind, as Allah tells us and teaches, you have to be able to maintain everything, not just money.
Yeah.
But if you buy this wife a house, you got to buy this wife a house. If you buy this wife a car, you got to buy this wife a car. If you're emotionally strong with this wife, you have to be emotionally strong with this wife as well. Because if not, she's going to come back and say that you're doing something you're not doing. And what it actually ultimately comes out to is that Allah says, because think about, let me back up as far as with men. The average man, especially in America, is not mentally equipped or emotionally equipped to be married to more than one woman. You have to understand that is a cultural understanding in a sense. The average American man has not been reared with that as an understanding. The average American woman has not been reared with that as an understanding. So now you're trying to do something that's new to you. It's not normal for the average American man to have two wives. That's not a normal thing. His father didn't have that. His uncles didn't have that. It's not something he's used to. It's something he's thinking he wants to do because the religion that he has chosen now allows for it. But he's not ready for it. He's not prepared for it. He's not equipped for it.
Yeah.
So you have to understand, the man actually has to understand asking for something that is indicated as a right is also indicated that it's best for you if you don't.
Right. So
That's what you have to understand.
we have to get clear on some of the things. I know because we have those expectations.
Right.
Right. And one thing you said if
you have one thing, you got to get something else.
If one wife has a car, his other wife got to have a car.
Yeah.
If one wife has a house, the other wife has to have a house. Is that absolutely true?
Well, not unless they are living in the same house. Not unless they're, but
well,
are they going to agree with that?
What I wanted to say, it's not about
the material things.
It's more so about equity than it is equality.
Okay.
Because one wife may have 3 of his children,
right,
and the other wife doesn't have any of his children,
right.
So which wife needs the 3-bedroom house and which wife needs the studio.
Needs the studio apartment, right?
So it's equitable, and also the agreements are made and clear communication is made.
That's what's most important, is the clear
yes.
communication
Because
on what's going on.
Because in marriage, there's also the understanding. See, we all Americans, and we think that when you're married to somebody, you got to sleep in the same bed every night, tuck each other in and sleep next to each other every night. My grandparents was married and had their own separate bedrooms. Anybody else had grandparents like that? And they were happily married for 50-some years. Granddad had his bedroom, and my grandma had her bedroom. And then when they wanted to see each other, yeah. So some marriages can work that way because we have this notion in our minds that I'm supposed to live with my wife, right? And we're supposed to sleep in the same bed every night, and everybody's supposed to have the same thing, right? All equal, but it's really an equitable thing, and it's what every party agrees upon, right? So some marriages are different. For example, what if a brother is 75 years old? He courts with a sister that's 70 years old, or 75, or 40, right? We got that going on, right? But he says, look, sister, you keep your house and I'll keep my house. We don't have to live together. Matter of fact, every night we don't have to sleep in the same bed. But when I want to go to the movies, I'm going with you. When I want to go out to eat, I'm going out to eat with you. If I want to have a sleepover, of course I'm coming to your house or you come to my house, and we're married.
If they both agree to it.
If they both agree to it, yeah. That's right. I don't have to pay all your bills. You financially stable, but we're married, right? That's agreement. So sometimes people stay single because they imagine that standard or way we all imagine a marriage should be. You wake up next to each other, you sleep next to each other, both cars in the driveway, So you gotta open up your minds about how you want your marriage to be.
What will make it work?
Yes, what makes it work. Some sisters don't want nobody up under them every day. Some brothers don't want to have to call his wife, maybe he wants to, you know what I mean? Like, if he likes to free roam, he's not doing anything haram, but he wants to have that type of relationship with his wife. She know where I'm at, I know where she at, but we don't talk all day on the phone or see each other every day. Right? Like, it could be something like that. That's a marriage.
That's when it comes back to communication.
Yes.
With him saying that, well, what if she say, I want a second wife? Some guys marry behind backs, and you're not communicating that to your wife. Mm-hmm. So because we have a lot of that up north. You marry.
Oh yeah. don't bring that stuff down here.
Yeah, you marry and you don't say anything.
Right.
And then you could be having a conversation with another sister, whatever, and then you come to find out that y'all got the same husband, y'all got kids, your kids are related, and it's just like a big thing.
Yeah.
So it's with the communication. It's not a problem. Some women, it's not a problem with you having a second wife. It's you communicating. That's the whole issue when women say, well, some of them, not all, but some women say, well, I don't want a co-wife because he didn't communicate that. Mm-hmm. He just took it upon himself and said, okay, well, I can do it, so I'm going to do it. Communicate with it. So she can either get used to it or agree or not to agree. That's mostly the main issue of everything.
Right. When my wife told me I couldn't have a second wife, she had a knife to my throat. So it was just...
I can confirm or deny if any of that is true.
Plausible
I don't know.
deniability. Plausible deniability. She didn't hear me. No, she didn't. MashaAllah. So when we have our brothers who approach a wife saying that they want a second wife or whatever, like They want to enter that plurality. Is it fair, I guess, to come to the imam staff for counseling to try and ascertain why? Because it's not so much the what, all actions are, but it, with intentions. So what is the underlying reason as to
We
why?
we getting all of that out in premarital counseling.
Right, because, I like
I
voice acting.
I even asked couples that
I like voice acting. I'll change my
Right.
accent. I'll change my hijab. It's like so. Ultimately, absolutely.
Okay.
But ultimately, what is typically the reason as to why a man would seek a second wife in your experience? Aside, sometimes people are greedy. We never know. Allahu alam.
well, you really want me to answer that question?
Yes,
Okay.
we're all adults.
Well, the brothers,
I pray.
the brothers that I know who have multiple wives, they clearly communicated it to their first wife. It might have taken a while, a year, 2 years, to convince her that everything's going to be okay, right? And I mean, I'm not in all their business, but it seems to be working out. One thing that I know that is a familiar trait in each of those brothers is that financial stability is not a problem for them, right? So I guess what the sisters were thinking, like, if we live in check to check, how you, right? So unless the other sister is already financially stable herself and doesn't need for nothing, or she is like agreeing on some type of lesser stipend or whatever, then it's not gonna be fair from that aspect. But yeah, that's one familiar trait is the brothers are financially stable and and everybody's mature about the situation. Or say what?
Or the women don't want any more babies because the other woman might want babies.
Oh yeah, or the first wife doesn't want to have any more children. Yeah, that's one of the situations. The first wife isn't having any more children and he wants children. Yeah, and so it's different varying reasons. But if you're asking why, it's the number one answer is because let's say because I'm allowed to and I have the capability to, and I want to be able to help. They have an understanding of, like, there's a lot of single sisters, and I want to contribute to helping one more sister just not be single. Okay, now that's what they say. Now I know there's been nightmares. I hear from the sisters though that he said because I can, because it's my right, and this kind of thing. But that's from the brothers that I know that have done it. I haven't heard that kind of language, like because it's my right, or because and the because I can is because I can to a point where because I have this financial means, and I want to help, like, or we got entrepreneurs that also would like a sister that's real sharp and can help with the family business, so those kind of things.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
There's also a question of having one wife here in the U.S. is what is legal. So how does one go about having a second wife and have the second wife be properly looked after? Like, for instance,
Yeah.
here you have for things like, I don't know, but
You got health insurance.
and
Yeah.
all of that sort of thing. How do you go about, number one,
Yeah.
making sure that the sister will be looked after in the event that something happens to the brother?
Yeah.
And how do you have a second wife, since it's not within the law here?
Good question. In Islam, we have religious freedom. So even if you were to go like into a courtroom, the judge is not concerned that you have 2 wives. You going to jail if you have 2 marriage licenses. Like if I were to go to South Carolina and get a marriage license, and then get a North Carolina marriage license, then go to Tennessee and get another marriage license, I'm going to jail. That's they call it bigamy. Yeah. But just as legal for me if I were a non-Muslim and I had 4 girlfriends, the law doesn't care. It's legal for me in Islam if I have 4 wives and the first wife I have a marriage license with, and the second and the other wives there's no marriage license, but there's a Islamic marriage contract, and I have the responsibility of doing what? If I have employment and the first wife is covered through my health insurance, I got to get a health insurance plan for the other wife, in case she gets sick or injured, right? And make sure everybody is taken care of. That's one of the basic things that like a couple should, like husband should do. There may be some loopholes. Maybe if the second wife works, has a job, and her health care is taken care of with her job. But he has to know if she quits that job, I got to come up with a solution. Talking about that's something as simple as health care, right? And the agreements financially have to be made. Everything has to be communicated clearly. And I know that's a good question, but individually, as far as marriage counseling, that's questions that come up. Like, how are you going to take care of the second wife? What's the health insurance? How's that going? Like car insurance, like all the life insurance. Are you going to get an extra life insurance policy and put the second wife as the beneficiary? Right? You can do those things. You have to rewrite your will. How does the property get disseminated? Because some brothers married a second wife or third wife and they never redid their will. They pass away. First wife get all the rights, right? Because she's married legally with the state, right? So that's some suggestions there. And there's still going to be some things that you can't have fully.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Social Security benefits.
Right.
After he passes, they can't. The court ain't gonna split that. That's gonna go to the first wife.
Yeah.
Right.
And it would be up to her to be amicable and want to share with what she got with the other wife. Like a situation that you and I are familiar with a brother, to where his first wife had what they believed to be a terminal illness, and she didn't want the brother and the children to be left alone. Mm-hmm. So she found a second wife for her husband, or a caregiver, a person for her wife to come, and then she got better. So now he has 2 wives. But that was his first wife.
She got better?
She got better.
Okay.
But so that was his first wife's decision, though. So,
Man, that's the only way you're going to get a second wife, brother, is if I get sick.
Right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
We have a lot of talk about the wali and the wakil to vet brothers, but who vets the sisters? Because growing up a girl is an epic saga in and of itself.
Yes.
And if you don't process your stuff, all of that he brings home is going to power the home, it's going to cook the food, it's going to raise the children, it's going to nourish or damage. It's either going to be a blessing or a fitna. So who vets the sisters to make sure that they're stable emotionally, mature enough to handle marriage?
That's a good question. In Islam, that's not a standard thing about vetting the sister. Like if she's a believer, she's Muslim, and things like that. like there's no wali for the brother. There's no wali for the brother. But in 1447, that's what year it is. Today is Safar. Actually, it's the first of Safar today, isn't it? The second month on the Islamic calendar, 1447. In 2025, 1447, yeah, you might want to find a reference about a sister. See if she has some things you should know, right? Ask the right questions and see about some of those kind of things, right? So that's important. But yeah, there's no standard way of doing that, because in Islam the rules on that is to protect the sister, to protect the woman. I guess the brothers are on their own. But yeah, that's a good question. I would suggest just
family, trying to find out, or somebody else that know them in the community, or somebody else that you would trust or could share some information. You know, hopefully, I mean, well, big mama. Sometimes,
go to Big Mama.
Yeah.
So in counseling, I suggest people talk to family.
Talk to family.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, have you talked to her mother? Have you talked to her siblings?
Right.
Right. You meet the rest of the family.
Yeah.
And peek for any kind of signs.
Because a lot of times in our community here, a lot of times the person that we're dealing with might be the only Muslim in the family.
Yeah.
So that, you need to let them know this is what's going on. This is who I am. This is what I'm bringing, and while you're introducing yourself like that, you're also finding out about her side of the family or people that's there, or seeing how they deal with each other and whether they're close-knit or whether they're separate and don't nobody talk to anybody. There's ways to go about it. We have to stop being so shy.
Yeah, you can't be shy.
Yeah, about getting to know just different things, and we gotta reach out.
Okay, the question was asked, if a sister, obviously Muslim, but she is being the only brothers who are serious about having a relationship and getting married and so on, coming her way are non-Muslim ones. And the Muslim ones, are not necessarily serious or not looking for marriage, or are in fact doing things that they shouldn't be doing. What does she do in a case like that?
She's got to change her environment. A sister shouldn't be in an environment where a lot of brothers are inquiring about her like that, especially non-Muslims. So what environment is she in where a lot of non-Muslim men are asking about her for a relationship? Is it at work? Yeah, like how does she find out that a non-Muslim is serious about marriage? How you like, what's that interaction? Like, they walking up to the sister in Walmart.
At work.
Yeah. And another thing, I want to, like, if you were to go, let's say, for the people who come in my office, the brothers, I'll start with the brothers. For the brothers that come in my office and bring non-Muslim sisters in there to marry, if I were to line up 100 non-Muslim women and ask the question, we're all adults here. If I were to line up 100 non-Muslim women and ask the question, would you marry a man and not have sex with him first? How many of those 100 do you think would raise their hand? Don't answer that question. Okay. Now turn that around and ask 100 non-Muslim men. Would you marry non-Muslims? Would you marry a woman and not have sex with her first? How many of them do you think would raise their hand? You say maybe 1 or 2? 3? 3 out of 100. Yeah. So I mean, it's people are doing what they want to do out here, outside these doors, but Imam ain't no.
You've been around the block.
Right. So a sister talking about these brothers coming, I'm talking about marriage. My spidey senses are spiking. I'm not accusing the sister of anything, but I'm thinking like, what environments is she in where all of these non-Muslim brothers is trying to holler at you? Like, what?
It could be her demeanor. It could be how she carry herself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because it's a lot of men, non-Muslim men,
Mm-hmm.
that approach. I say for me, a lot
Okay.
of men that approach me. They can like how I dress. They can like how I carry myself.
Uh-huh.
They can like my demeanor.
Okay.
I'm one of those.
They also don't have a sense of adab either.
What do
Yeah.
I need to do to marry you? What do I need to do? Who do I need to be talking to?
To marry the non-Muslim?
No, that's what they're saying to her.
Oh, like what I gotta, they like what I gotta do.
Right,
What I
right.
gotta do to
Right.
become Muslim to marry you?
Okay, tell them come see me.
And I always wrote. Go check out.
Yeah.
Talk to Abram. Go,
Yeah.
see what you need to do. Because a woman can't tell a man what he needs to do.
Right. They can come see. We standing up there after Juma or something, and his brother come up want to take his shahada. Can I say, who is she? Which one of y'all? But yeah, I mean that happens too. That happens too. It's a act of dawah, but what I say about why somebody is a Muslim, the right reason, it can't be I became a Muslim so I can marry this woman.
I have a lot of
Right?
sisters that does that.
Yeah, that does happen. And even when I tell them, like, your reason for staying Muslim needs to be more than so you can marry this sister, because it's not going to be a lasting thing. Yeah.
But
So
also,
I hope I helped answer that question. But the thing is,
I want to expound
Yeah,
on it. That's what I was gonna say. Go ahead. Go ahead.
there's a protocol for the Muslim brothers to approach, right? The Muslim brothers are not going to be as aggressive with approaching you for marriage. So the protocol with that's why it may seem like the Muslim brothers are not interested or things like that. But it's what does the Quran say about the righteous path? Is steep. The righteous path is steep and it's more narrow. The easy path is more wide and easy, right? 4-lane highway to fitna, to the hellfire, right? So sometimes you got to do what's a little more difficult for marriage to do things the right way. So hope that helps. Right?
Actually, you expounded on you gave the explanation I was going to give about that. Because the initial question was a sister's being approached more by non-Muslims than she is by Muslims. And that's the reason. That's part of the reason why. But then also, like programs like this, not coming out to them and seeing who is actually interested in being married. Brother, every time we have this program. Now, last month when we had this program, there was like 60 people in here.
Right.
But out of those 60 people, Sister Sharifa, what did we have? Like 2 that showed some interest in each other? 2, 3 people that showed some interest in each other? If you're having a problem, men or women, finding a Muslim mate, and then you have an opportunity and you don't take advantage of it, then what are you actually waiting for is the question. I mean, like I said, we literally, and it was almost evenly killed.
Yeah.
There was about
25,
35, 25 and 25 men and women in here. And they spoke about it later or the next couple of days. What about that sister in the blue? What about that brother that had the long thobe on? Why didn't you say something while you were there with them so we could have made a connection?
Yep.
The 3 of us could have got together and made a connection at that point. Now you don't have to worry about the guy at your job. You don't have to worry about the guy at Walmart or the sister that's, wherever. But we have to take the advantage of the opportunities that are presented to us. The Imam is giving excellent questions and knowledge and retort on your questions. And we have a program that we set up every month. Now, we don't get us wrong. We've married a lot of couples. Since we've been doing this, what number are we on now? 10 couples? 13? We've gotten 13 couples together in 7 years, 8 years.
So it's like
9 years.
1.1
9
a
years.
year?
Yeah, like 1.1 a year. Yeah, but they all stay together. They all stay together. But we're presenting the opportunity. You have to take advantage of the opportunity. We put the information out. You got to come out. You're interested in somebody, you got to show your interest. You have a question about somebody, let somebody know so we can find out if there's an interest, and then we sit down. You don't even have to worry about, well, I'm not sure. That's what the counseling session is for. And like he said,
You can start your courting process and not be sure.
Yes.
And then once you find out that you're really not going that way, you just break things off. There's no hard feelings.
It's not a bad, that's not a problem at all. But it's better than not start.
Right.
It's better, you gotta start somewhere. It's your last question.
I get asked a lot of questions by, much younger people. And I was listening to two young women, and they were discussing who it is that the kind of person that they would like to marry, right? And it was so far-fetched, right? That
far-fetched, like this unicorn of a man that doesn't exist, or what?
Like one of them is going to law school, right? And so in her head, she only wants to marry a lawyer, doctor, engineer, that type of person.
Okay.
Right? And then the other one is not like that. She has a different career, but her thing is he has to have the kind of money that can support her. And, he has to make, if not 6 figures, close to. And I'm like, what world do you live in? I said, do you even actually know anybody that makes 6 figures? Do you make 6 figures? But they have, and these are not the only two. Most of the younger people that talk to me, and these are Muslim women,
right,
young women, and Muslim men, they have this kind of fantasy idea going on in their head. The Muslim men, oh, she must be beautiful, and she must be educated, and where are those people? So to me, how do we get realism into people's wishes?
Yeah, we need more mentorship. We need more relationship mentorship for people.
Even like
because
the
they don't
brothers.
have any, if they don't have any type of mentorship on that. Because it's kind of like, you have an imam, but do you have an imam for all the subject matters in which you have goals in, right? So you got to think on that aspect, right?
Right.
If I have an imam for my religion, I should have an imam for my financial goals. I should have an imam for my marriage goals. To somebody that'll be in your ear, be like, that's a little bit ridiculous, right? Or, that kind of thing, and trust that advice. Because it's a lot of people that remain single because they have those type of deluded thoughts in their mind. And it's not all impossible. You're not telling the sister that that's completely impossible. It's just improbable, right?
Right. And it's not even just like the younger ones. Like, do you have like, for instance, older brothers sometimes will say to me, oh, do I know, a likely sister that they would,
right,
that they could marry? But then the older brother wants somebody young, and I'm like, why would somebody young be interested in you?
Let's bring it out.
Like,
let's bring it out. Because there's a thing. Should women know what men want? Should men know what women want?
I guess you should have an idea, but to me, the most important thing is to be yourself and
Right.
not have these pie in the sky ideas, because that is not reality.
Yeah. They don't. She said they don't know who their self is.
Because what they see in their home growing up, so some of them don't know.
Maybe not. But you know what? Sometimes, because I dealt with that just now, I had a call before we started here. A brother was complaining about a sister he was courting. He was complaining about her parents and her brother. And it's a situation where her parents and her brother are keeping the sister single. Why? Because he had, and I'm not dropping names. I don't know if he's looking on YouTube, but I'm not saying your name, brother. I'm not saying your name, and that was a personal conversation. So, but he said that the brother that would be his brother-in-law told him, you got to get your money up, and then hung up, right?
Wow.
And but the fact of the matter is, this brother, he's not poor. He's not sleeping in his car, or he's not impoverished. You know, he's not. I'm saying he's not. Yeah.
But he knew that the sister would want more? The brother-in-law knew that the sister...
It's mostly the family.
It's the family. You know the dad.
Down on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking down on him because of his income.
Ask your husband, can I get such and such?
Oh,
Usually
okay.
you get that.
Right.
Ask your husband, well, he should be able to
Yeah.
give your mom or your brother some money.
So the subject being talked about, right? You got so you saying we got a problem with older brothers wanting younger sisters, right? And we got a problem with sisters wanting
Outrageous stuff.
outrageous income earning men. You know, that's an issue, right? So what can we do about that?
Education.
Education. Because we got this kind of language where people say they don't want to settle. They don't want to settle. And then if you got that language in your mind, like, I don't want to settle, and then the brother who's like an average brother and a good brother, you marry him, but you still got in your mind that you settled. When the reality of it is you didn't really settle. You just married who wanted to marry you. You married who you were eligible for, right? And that goes in both ways. But I want to get some things out there we have things that we have in our minds. Is it wrong for an older brother to want to marry a younger sister?
No.
No?
I would say it depends.
So it can be wrong?
That it can be wrong. Being a 70, late 70s.
We're not talking about Al Pacino.
But I'm just saying,
75, but that's...
to 40 and 30,
his girl is
that's an
30.
issue
She's
because
53
mentally,
years
Right.
younger than
she's
him.
not,
Yeah.
mentally, she's not capable of understanding, or it's going to be an issue.
Okay.
Later. It's going to be an issue. Because how he was raised in his era and how her era is. it's
Yeah,
gonna
but
clash
so
eventually it's going to clash.
yeah, but let me tell you, would you advise? So let's say you have a sister who's your friend. Would you advise her not? Let's say she's 35. Would you advise her not to marry a brother who's 45?
I would tell her to just get on, be consistent, and finding out more about it.
Okay. I'm just making sure because, basically, this is couples math. This is not actual math,
Like how she said about the younger woman saying that they want this, they want that.
right? So look. So a lot of the times, what the younger woman wants in a man, the older man actually has it, but she sees him and she's like, oh, he's too old.
That's what she sees in the beginning. She's looking on the outside in.
Right.
So once she get married, it's a whole different.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
what she thought it was going to be. He got money, he's settled, he got a house, he got a car. But then when she get married, he goes to bed early. He does this, that, and I want to go outside.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not what you think.
Some things gotta be
You have
talked
to-
about.
Yeah, that younger person have to be mentally mentally ready
Right.
for older guy. He got to be mentally ready to deal with a younger female.
So if you have a checkbox, so let's say people have a checkbox in what they want in a husband or wife, right?
I got a paper for her that she's going to get to you.
If a person doesn't have everything in your checkboxes, do you have a secondary checkbox for, like, if he doesn't clear this checkbox, what is he making up for it with? Let's say, for example, if a sister has an age range, if a brother has an age range, right? Somebody is a little bit outside that age range. Is it automatically no? Or if that person is outside that age range, but they make up for it with this or that? I think that's how it should go. Right? So, but if nobody's thinking about that, I think it should be some mentorship with that. So some coaching and how we can get some of these people married before they miss out on their opportunities, right?
Also, this society is coming at you from all different sides and
Right.
directions, and that's clouding people's minds on what's important, what they should have, and what they need. And a lot of time, people don't really even know what they actually need. You have to separate your wants from your needs, and this society promotes your wants.
Right?
And if you're going based off of all your wants, you'll miss out on what you could have because you're not paying attention to what you actually need. You're only looking at your wants, and your wants are temporary. You know, so when I said education, I also meant putting more Islam and Quran into our thinking
Yes.
and our mindset, as opposed to this is what I saw on TV yesterday, or what I see somebody else have, or what I think I need to have because of this, or I want him because I want to live in this neighborhood so I can impress them. That type of thing. That causes more problems than it's worth when you go in that direction. But if you're focusing, because I know people, Muslim, that have done either or, and those that actually have the better relationship, the better connection, they're both very significantly synced into Islam.
Right.
As opposed to going to the club, going to the party, hanging out, money that they can get, what they can spend, where they've done this, that, and the other, and all these different things. So it's a lot. The ones that seem to, they're both practicing and living as Muslim.
Right.
They're a lot more happy.
So what I tell couples in counseling is make sure that you love Allah more than you love who you're marrying.
Yeah.
Because if you love Allah more than you love who you're marrying, you're going to still be obedient. So, or how about this? Have more regard for Allah than you have regard for who you're married to.
Right.
Fear Allah more than you fear the disappointment of your wife or husband. And if both of you do that, a lot of the problems in marriages won't even appear, right? Because a lot of times divorces happen because of a lack of morality in one of the spouses. That's one thing, right? Or lack of ambition or drive in one of the spouses, right? So the expectations are high or too high or too low in themselves, right? So that's a thing. But we trying to get people in to the door, right? Right? Trying to get people to the door. And sometimes people are stopping themselves from even getting by the door. I'm talking about in my office for premarital. Like, people are stopping themselves from even getting in the door for things that they imagine are outside of their box of what's eligible or not. All right? So we don't want to do that. And I'm glad you asked that question, Sister Saadia, because you overheard the young sister saying that, right? Do you know, like, we're in 2025, 1447. We have the technology to search the statistics on these things, right? So a sister wants to marry, she's going to medical school or law school, she wants to marry a lawyer. Now we got to find out how many single Muslim male lawyers there are, right? It's probably like 0.1% or something, right? Then you got to be a certain height, right? Right? Then you got to be, it might be a certain race you're looking for, right?
So that cuts that.
I hadn't even named any numbers yet. Well, I did the 0 point something percent, but it's getting thinner. And then it has to be, if you look statistically, how many lawyers are actually married to another lawyer? Right? How many doctors are married to another doctor? Because I hear a lot of sisters say, well, I'm going to med school. I want to marry somebody that's also a doctor, right? And they may even have a friend that married somebody that's also a doctor, but did all of them do that?
Right.
That might be 1 out of 100 that actually did that. But they're looking at that like couples goals, right? And
you also got to figure why. What is your motivation for that?
Right.
Why do you think that's something you have to do? Are you just greedy and looking at the money y'all both will have? Because like when I was in the military, I knew a guy. He was a staff sergeant. Very miserable in his marriage. Refused to divorce his wife because she was also a staff sergeant. And he didn't want to lose out on the money that they had collectively coming in. But he was miserable in his marriage. But it was the greed for the money.
yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if a lot of men want to marry themselves. And I don't mean like, would you marry your...
No, I say that all the time. Actually, when we were still vows and we were doing things, I would always say that, are you somebody you would marry? If you're saying you want a person to be this and this, that's different than what you were going to say?
That's a good point, but that's not what I was saying.
Oh, my apologies. Go ahead.
Would an NFL linebacker want to marry another NFL linebacker?
Okay, I see what
Would it, right? Would you want to, that was kind of an extreme example.
Well, you since I was talking, use me. No, I came up in law enforcement.
Would you want,
I would not want my wife to
would you
be,
want to marry a police officer?
No, I have 30 years of law enforcement experience. I've never dated a law enforcement person.
Right.
Never was into thinking about marrying a law enforcement person because I wouldn't want my wife doing what I did.
So would a lawyer want to marry a lawyer? One might, but what do most of them do, right? So if a man who is a lawyer prefers to have a stay-at-home wife, and then all of these sisters that's in law school want to marry a lawyer, and most of the lawyers that are men prefer to have stay-at-home wives,
That cuts their percentage down even more.
even more.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's important to know what the other gender prefers, right? So that's a whole other, that's a discussion to have, but it's still important to think about those things, you know, because people have their preferences, they know what they want, but they shouldn't think of language of if I don't get that, I'm settling. You have to be aware of what is in your pool of what's your pool of eligible single people. All right. I hope that makes sense.
Do we have any other questions? Somebody, I saw a hand up. Did I see a hand up over here? I thought I saw a hand up over here. You were scratching? Okay. All right.
Okay. So I was going to do math, couples math, right? This is not actual math. I got married at 21 years old. My wife was also 21 years old. We were both broke. But we married, and we stayed together, and we grew together, and still married 22 years later, right?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Now, y'all might disagree with me. I think that for a woman, marrying somebody that's the exact same age as you is a young woman's game. If she's 25 years old, she can marry a brother that's 25 years old with the understanding that he's not going to have everything that you want him to have, but you stick with him, and when both of y'all are 40, he going to have everything he's supposed to have at that age, inshallah, right? But if a sister is 30 years old, for example, and what she wants in a man, most 40-year-old brothers have it, right? Or most 45-year-old brothers have it. It might be an option for her to marry an older brother. If that's something, he gotta have his own house. You look statistically, right? How many they just talked about in the last decade, how many 30-year-olds still live with their parents, right? So I didn't buy my first house till I was 32, and I was married, right? So those kind of things got to be like, just think about, right? Anything else? Math. It's not as taboo. The older you are, the less taboo it is for age difference, right? If I'm 20 years old, right, you can't marry no 15-year-old, right? If I'm 25 years old, a 20-year-old,
Might not.
if I'm 30 years old, a 25-year-old, right? If I'm 40 years old, a 35-year-old, nobody even bat an eye,
Nobody would even care.
right? So you do couples math, 10 years. If I'm 50 years old and I marry a 4-year-old, anybody care?
Nobody cares.
Right?
It all depends on the woman has a child close to that age.
You got a good point. If the woman has a child close to that age, it still might not matter if we get the older you get, right? Because
It's gonna be an issue.
hey, the older you get, I said the older you get, like, okay, 77-year-old marries a 55-year-old. Is that big gap?
Kids are close to that age. You still got kids.
But the kids are adults and they gone.
Yeah, they gone, but it's still gonna be an issue as far as the woman. The kids.
Maybe.
No, the man is the seven.
Yeah, and the woman.
Right.
Yeah, he got kids close to her age, or if not her age.
Yeah, but that's not.
Like if he's 70 and he has a 50-year-old child,
Uh-huh.
and he marries wants to marry a 50-year-old. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but is that? That's not a.
That's I mean, in reality, that 45, that 48 or 50-year-old child probably lived in a different state.
Yep.
Probably has
Grown with their own kids.
Families, that and other. This might be the father's second or third marriage.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be an issue, a problem. Now, somebody superficial might question it, because I've had people ask me about that, because they're thinking about being that child's parent. But when you're over 50, you're not trying to be the parent of somebody in their 40s or whatever for your husband's, this marriage and his first children.
So she's not gonna be asking. She's not gonna be asking his kids. You can call me mom now.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
you do that if they.
Life,
So those kind of things. We don't want to, but you don't want to advise somebody not to get married or not get married yourself because of some things that might seem taboo, and it's really like, you gonna get married or not? I mean, it's not gonna be that type of situation.
In that situation, it sounds like it's more you're concerned about everybody else versus what's right for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
I'm worried about the wrong things.
Mhm.
And then think about that the child should actually be more happy that the father is not alone, as opposed to what it's doing to the dynamic of our family. Because our family is not in the same house, more than likely, may not even be in the same city, more than likely. So it's not like you're bringing this person my age into our family.
Right.
Is that this is what you're doing, and when I come to visit, keep that in mind, in a sense. It's a case-by-case basis.
Case-by-case basis.
Case-by-case individual basis.
That's why I said I seen
Yeah.
the women's side.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm asking. Is it would it be something for you to be like, now I'm not trying to convince you of anything. We just open conversation. What I'm saying is that something for you to be like, no, we're not going to go to the door, or let's go to the door and talk about it and see what the scenario actually is. Go to the door and talk about it?
Intelligence would say go to the door all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like in this conversation we're having here,
Now I get it if a sister's 40 and a brother is 75 talking about, she might be like, no, that's too old. But
Or a sister that's 50 and she got a son that's 30 and he's 32.
that might, that's an age disparity, you know. But what I'm saying is, if you go to the door, you might find out there's other reasons to marry, right? Because 45, for example, 45-year-old man, we got this thing called old man strength. You know? But what I'm saying is there's two different types of 45, right? There could be a 45-year-old man that looks 30, keeps himself in shape. And there's a 45-year-old man that looks 60. So just off of age alone, it could be something else. Same thing for sisters, right? I've seen, well, I ain't gonna say what I've seen, but sister could be 25 but looks almost 40. And then sister could be 50, but you didn't know that she was 50. You thought she was 30, right? It could be those type of situations. But if you're looking at just a number, it's got to be what the person, what each couple desires, right? Because if a brother is 50, is he wrong for wanting to marry? He's single and 50 years old. Is he wrong for wanting to have children? All right. So I think it would be wrong for sisters to try to guilt the brother into, you know, she trying to, not she, but if sisters, not like no individual, but trying to guilt the brother for being 50 and wanting to have more children, so he can't marry a 50-year-old sister. Right. Right. Yeah. So that's some of the things we should we should discuss in coaching. Now, it's not like anybody's being forced to marry somebody they don't want to marry, but it's just opening things up to the opportunities. Because there's some things that are there. You know. Do we have any other questions to discuss? Because we're getting, what time is it? 7 o'clock.
We're right on time.
Alhamdulillah.
Do we have any other questions? Did we have any? No. All right. I thought I saw a question over there.
Okay, so if you came to this program, we definitely want to make sure everybody signs up with the Muslim Marriage Connection.
Did everyone sign in when they came in? You got
Yeah.
information? You got Sister Sharika, gave Sister Sharika your information?
Because we will keep you in the loop.
Yes.
And without, we're going to get to a point where some people are going to have their profile sent.
Yeah, we're going to check on that and get some other things.
Okay.
Also, can I see a show of hands of those that are here right now? If for next month, the games night part, if we go vote, how many people would go? Y'all don't vote? Oh, y'all live in Charlotte. Where y'all came down from? Greensboro? Okay, welcome.
Greensboro.
All right.
Winston-Salem.
All right.
Okay.
Welcome.
My son is up in Greensboro.
Yeah, he's in school now.
Yeah. He's an Aggie. He goes to A&T. Okay.
That might be what we do next.
Y'all go to A&T? Okay. My son, he going into his junior year. Okay. I might name drop my son now. Yeah. He participates in the MSA. He's an engineering major, mechanical engineering. Yeah. I might have to show a picture of my son real quick. Okay. He chose to go kayaking today instead of coming here. Yeah, he out on the lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all get out on the water often.
Hey, it was COVID. We never did that stuff
So
before.
now you're making up for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's good.
alhamdulillah.
It's good that he likes it, the adventure of the outdoors.
Yeah.
His horizon.
All right. So what we'll do? Nobody has to leave. We can talk, have some side conversations. Let's close out here with Al-Fatiha, and anything that comes up in a conversation, we just continue on, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. All right, assalamu alaikum, YouTube. See y'all later on YouTube, right?